Welcome back to the Charismatic Voice. I need some more strong, powerful rocker lady voices in my life. So we're going to go back for some more heart. I somehow still haven't heard these dreams, so today is going to be my first time. But before we get started, a quick word about protecting yourself. Today's video is sponsored by Aura. And it's really important that we talk about them now because of the recent security breach where hackers may have stolen social security numbers from every American. When I got notified about the breach and saw that my social security number had been stolen, I immediately went to my account at Aura to double check that it was up to date and that I was protected. Over 2.9 billion records were stolen from national public data, which supplies personal information to employers and others for things like background checks. These records include a person's full name, address, date of birth, phone number, and their social security number. Y'all know me, and you know that I don't swear much, but when I saw this, you bet I let out a huge F-bomb. The worst part about this situation is that reportedly the hackers released all of this information for free online. And let's pretend that I just let out all of those inappropriate words, which are totally appropriate to describe this screwed up situation. If you weren't taking precautions before, this should be a huge wake-up call. I would like to suggest to you Aura. Aura monitors your personal data, including your social security number, across billions of data points, including the dark web and public court records. They even picked up a traffic violation that was cleared a few months ago for me. Tags. They detect and alert you to identity theft, and they even give you up to $5 million in identity theft insurance should the worst happen. They also offer a ton of other features all in just one app. If you want protection now, go to my link at aura.com/charismatic voice to try it for 14 days for free. That's enough time, by the way, to check to see if your data is exposed. I really hope and highly recommend that you do this right away because this is a current big problem. I've had Aura for years and I find it so worth it. And I'm now sharing it with family and friends, telling everybody to buy in because I don't want them to be vulnerable to identity theft. If you want to protect yourself, go to aura.com/charismatic voice to try it for 2 weeks for free. Now let's listen with some peace of mind to some awesome music. Anybody else hear Moon River with that melody? Oh my word. Their hair, wow. Wow. Hair, wow. I'm gonna go back to the beginning because I was talking over a moment, thinking I heard Moon River in the melody there, and I missed a little bit of the build of that layer of instruments. Sorry about that. Back to the beginning. Her voice is dreamy. I love the way when she goes up. I think she's still keeping it in her first register there, or just mixing it really well. It has an airiness, like a lightness that's brought to it without really shifting over. Wow. In the intro, the part I'd missed before was essentially, it sounded like an extra doubling with the sense that went even higher. This is setting up an entirely like very ethereal atmosphere in which I'm going to sneeze. I swear I'm going to sneeze soon. Oof. Oof. Allergies. Anyhow. Okay, it went away. It might come back later. Warning. So I like the entire atmosphere that has been set up here. When it started, it already felt like lush, like you could almost hear the waves in the water, but then it expanded even more. Let's go back to the very beginning. It's soft while still being full. And there's that doubling up high. Drool.
Figures up ahead, moving in the trees. White skin in linen, perfume on my wrist, and the full moon that hangs over.
Now I'm thinking she's been mixing this the entire time. This is classical singers like me get especially caught up on registration. Contemporary singers sometimes care about it more, sometimes less. When I'm talking about registration, sometimes I'll talk about first or second register. Some people will talk about modal voice. Some people talk about chest and head voice. With classical singers, we're often making a big distinguishing difference between chest voice and head voice, which would be first and second register usually. But there's also this in-between area where there are aspects of each that are found. And sometimes people will call that mixed voice. And sometimes we'll even say first, second register being mixed, and third being head. There are all kinds of names for describing vocal registers. But what it boils down to is it a set of pitches that are adjacent to each other that share various acoustic and physical properties. Acoustically, like, do they sound the same, or does it sound like the voice suddenly changed timbre? Did it suddenly become more fluffy or more thick and heavy? Physically, we're usually talking about TA and CT engagement, meaning thyroarytenoid, which helps to thicken, and it's on the side of your vocal folds. When they go wacka, 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 the muscle on the side, that's the TA. Or cricothyroid, which stretches the vocal folds, kind of like when you stretch a rubber band, and as you stretch it, the rubber band thins out. That happens with your vocal folds, and the thinner, tauter vocal folds are easier to sing higher notes on. Now, this isn't like a huge shift. At any point, I like to think about it as percentages, like, oh, maybe when it's really mixed, it's like 49% TA and 51% CT. But the switch over can be really tricky for whichever muscle is in the driver's seat. That can be really tricky. There's a lot of breaking of the voice that can happen around there, like a sort of a gap, or for a moment, like a teenage boy going through a voice change. So it is important for singers to learn how to negotiate that well. Naming registers can help. But sometimes singers figure it out without having to have any names associated. Whatever it is that she's doing here sounds like a mix. It's gorgeous and I love it.
Spare a little candle, save some light for me. Figures up ahead, moving in the trees. White skin in linen, perfume on my wrist, and the full moon that hangs over these dreams in.
I'm sorry. Just a moment, just a second. If we change this face out, I could swear that the hair looks like David Bowie's hair from the Labyrinth. Longer. But just, Wow. Incredible.
These dreams in the mist. These dreams go on when I close my eyes. Every second of the night, I live another life. These dreams that sleep when it's cold outside. Every moment I'm awake, the further I'm away.
Okay. First thing I should mention is I thought this is my first time hearing this. I've heard this chorus somewhere. I have no idea where. Maybe in a video. Sometimes that happens though, where I'm like, I don't think I've ever heard this song before. But lots of songs are played in passing or placed in films. I didn't listen to the radio too much when I was little. And if I listened to it, it was usually a country station or a Christian station. So I really, when it comes to rock, I didn't have much exposure through my parents or anyone, which is why all of this really is very fresh and new to me. But that doesn't mean I haven't heard it in films. And in fact, a lot of the references that I have related to songs that y'all have recommended to me, every now and then I'll be like, yeah, I know that artist just because they were on the Cruel Intentions soundtrack. And that's my point of reference. I don't know where These Dreams is placed. I feel like it was in a movie, but I don't know. You guys might know. Tell me in the comments, okay? Tell me in the comments. We're going to go back because I had some more things to say about this, but I got lost in trying to figure out where I'd heard this before. That, to me, actually does sound like a little bit of fraying of the vocal folds. Y'all know me, and you know that I am very into studying upper laryngeal structures. We're talking about all of these structures that are above the true vocal folds. And those can be used to create grit on the sound. They can be used to create Cookie Monster noises in the case of like deathcore. But they don't have to be the only thing that is creating that kind of distortion. But we do know that if you use those structures, well, I shouldn't say we know this 100% for sure. We know that some people can use those structures and not suffer from damage on the vocal folds, like people used to think that would destroy your voice before. We know that that's not necessarily the case. We've seen plenty of examples where metal singers have sung for a long time and keep on going and their vocal folds are just fine. It seems like those structures maybe are a little bit more resilient than the true vocal folds. The true vocal folds are very fussy flowers. And when you hear this kind of sound, that sounds to me like it is on that pitch maker, the true vocal folds. You can get away with it some. And obviously, like the vocals in Heart go on and on and on, and they are singing extremely well much later in life. So I don't think that they've mismeasured how much they can get away with. I wouldn't recommend making this particular sound, this kind of fraying sound, too often. You have to basically consider your vocal budget. You can get away with sounds like this a little bit for effect. But I wouldn't do it a ton because I don't think it's necessarily super healthy. But a little bit for effect every now and then is okay.
These dreams go on when I close my eyes. Every second of the night.
Right, it's very effective. And when you hear on the top of that, there's even a little like cry into the sound. That is considered fantastic vocal technique. I hear her hooking up to the whole support system and letting out almost this like, it's like a kind of primal almost squeal on the sound that tells me she's just totally hooked in. And you see, oh my gosh, I've seen, especially of Ann Wilson, videos of her later where I'm just in awe of her vocal technique. So when you have that kind of vocal technique, you can get away with a little bit more for some fun effects on the side. And I love the way that we're alternating essentially between really closed vocal folds, in this case with that top note, and fraying in another moment. They're connected. Huh. So I know that we've been getting, it sounds like some alternation between Anne and Nancy Wilson. And I'm wondering if when we have that like more raspy moment, is that actually Nancy? When we have, later we have what looks like the same kind of moment from Anne. And I'm not sure at what times they're switching off this vocal line. Obviously, there's a lot of harmonizing that's happening. If you guys know this, let me know. It's especially seeing this for the first time, having heard, I think, the chorus somewhere. It's a little bit disorienting to me. I can't figure out which is which. And they're sisters, so they're going to have a similar sound. But it also sounds like they've brought their sounds more close together in this song. Let's keep going.
Is it cloak and dagger? Could it be spring or fall? I walk without a cut through a stained glass wall. Weaker in my eyesight, a candle in my grip, and words that have no form are falling from my lips. These dreams go on.
Huh. I'm wondering if I might be able to distinguish between the two of them by, there's like a tiny, it sounds like maybe Nancy's voice has like a teensy bit more rasp to it, and Anne's a tiny bit more gather. I'm not sure. It sounds like Nancy can gather too, though, from a lot of the moments. They can have that super, the crazy similarity. The wonders of having similar genetics. Having sung with my family for so much of my life. I mean, even not just my mom and dad and brother and sister, but also with my extended family, like my cousins and my grandparents, like all singing together in church. There's something. There has to be something about genetics, the way that our faces are made up, the way that the structures in our larynx are constructed, right? There are similarities there that you can tap into with your family. They're just, it's easier to blend with one of my relatives than a stranger. I don't know what studies have been done specifically on that, but I do know that your physical makeup determines a lot about the natural tone of your voice. And these two are going to be able to blend together super well.
These dreams go on when I close my eyes. Every second of the night, I live another life. These dreams that sleep when it's cold outside. Every moment.
Whoa, I just realized that like plucky, like almost like raindroppy kind of sound is actually from a guitar. I thought it was from a synth, but I saw him playing it with this that looked really cool. I don't know what that's called. Like, that's cool. What's that called, chat? Let me know in the live premiere. Let me know. That's a really cool technique. Like if we were talking about a violin or some sort of classical string section, you could do arco, which is kind of similar, but that's cool. Now I can't get that like plucky sound out of my focus. It's just always there. And I realize it's like carbonation to me, right? It's like The difference between still water and a Topo Chico. I love Topo Chico, y'all. If you're looking for the best sparkling water in the world, no, they did not sponsor this. Topo Chico. Topo Chico is where it's at. I love that spritz, and it feels like we have that brilliant spritz in this guitar. I love it.
Every morning I'm awake, further I'm away. There's something out there I can't resist. I need to hide away from the pain. There's something out there I can't resist.
Wow. There's so much expression in that moment. It's powerful and vulnerable at the same time. Ooh.
I need to hide away from the pain.
Like that moment from the pain, it almost sounds like she's about to break, but the voice is still strong. I love the air in the tone that I hear there as well. Yeah, it just sounds like really connected the whole time, but it's not just connected to technique, it's like connected to the heart.
Out there, I can't resist. I need
What an
to hide
icon.
away from the pain. There's something out there I can't resist. The sweet
And that there's that fraying on the edge again, just a tiny bit. And I'm not going to complain about it. Not one bit.
I can't resist. The sweetest song is silence. That
Ooh, beautiful. Silence. It's like practically spoken. There's a hush. She brings in so much hush on her sound there.
can't resist. The sweetest song is silence that I've ever heard. Funny how your feet in dreams never touch the earth. In a wood full of princes, freedom is a kiss. But the prince hides his face from dreams in the mist. These dreams go on when I close my eyes.
This is such an enchanting video. I love the switch back and forth, almost like there was some sort of reflection. And I like the way that that's brought back to the words too. This idea that essentially you can't escape some things in your dreams, right? That you can try with all your mind and your might during the day to be on track, be focused. But when it comes to your dreams, they can just go anywhere. I do think that there's a lot to be said for mental discipline and keeping your thoughts focused. You're much less likely to have dreams that you really don't want to have. But I can try with all my might to not remember various moments from horror films, and they still creep up in my dreams, which is why I don't watch horror films. Slight sidetrack there. Let's go back.
Hides his face from dreams in the mist. These dreams go on when I close my eyes. Every second.
What does the water do to an electric guitar? I mean, first of all, hopefully it doesn't have electricity. We don't want to fry anybody. But what else does it do? Is there sealant that's on it that makes it okay? Things I don't know about. That would be very bad for most acoustic classical stringed instruments made out of wood. Right? Bad idea. Humidity affects them a ton, which is such a pain in the butt. Just saying, I feel so bad for people who have to travel with their violin and you open it up in an arid desert the day after you've been in some rainforest. And you're like, oh my gosh, it doesn't work the same way. That's terrible. But it's the same thing for the voice. When you're in a dry area, or well, usually it's going from a really wet area to a dry area. Your vocal folds are going to dry out faster, and that does affect how efficient your vocal folds can make a sound. Altitude also can be a problem. Voices have the same problem, but pianos don't really travel with you. Usually they're acclimatized to wherever they're at already. So being a traveling pianist does require you to get used to each piano, but at least you don't have to deal with weather.
From dreams in the mist. These dreams go on when I close my eyes. Every second of the night, I live another life. These dreams can sleep when it's cold outside. Every moment I'm awake, the further I'm away. These dreams.
Okay, with this like reverse coming out of the water moments, it makes me think that this, when she's emerging from it with her hair still perfectly stood up, like that's also a reverse moment, right? Right? Or does hair actually stand up like that after with that much product? I don't know.
Every moment I'm awake, the further I'm away. These dreams go on when I close my
Wow.
eyes. Every second of the night, I live another life. These dreams that sleep when it's cold outside.
This is beautiful. This is such an easy song to listen to. It could repeat over and over, and I would enjoy that so much. It made me fall in love with Heart even more. And if you want to see some more analyses of other times when each time I've fallen more in love with Heart, check out this playlist over here. May you fall more in love with music every day.